Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be talking a little bit more about seasons because I feel like this is the important and sustainable bread and butter for what Warlords of New York will be. Now, after this video, I feel like many more people might go ahead and purchase this expansion, and I'll be happy if I actually can convince more people to get the expansion. Now, there are a few things in seasons that I'm kind of against, but I do have, sometimes I come up with some things and I'm against and it confuses a lot of people. And I guess maybe my point might not be seen today, but I'm going to give it, probably 2 months and then maybe people will see where I'm coming from. But the seasons are actually a very well thought out aspect of this new expansion. When you finish everything from, level 30 to level 40, take out bosses, do the stuff that's in the game, then you're going to break out into seasons. I think a week after the DLC drops, the first season 1 is going to launch, which is pretty much a 3-week event that starts off in terms of where you're doing season manhunts. They're gonna be after those, you're gonna move into doing, some other stuff like global event, parallel events, all that stuff. It's a huge package of events for people to do and farm. Even I think this is a good idea because Destiny has stuff like this, and this will provide a sustained replayability as we go on down the road. So there's season 1 and then there's going to be season 2. And some of the really interesting things that make this season actually cool is that if you engage in the season and the seasonal manhunts, you can literally go farm for your skill variants. Now you can get those skill variants outside, but one of the really cool things is you take out a bunch of, bosses that will spawn based on a narrative, not just going to take down bosses, but there's supposedly going to be a narrative driven basis for this. And you guys know, I am your narrative driven guy in the division. I like narrative. Check the link in the description. Shameless plug. I wrote a book. Check it out. It's a storybook. You see that I like this kind of stuff. And so I think if they continue with the season track and the season mindset, continuing to add new rewards for people to farm, we're going to have an endgame content that actually works for the community in that sense. Now, I don't think seasons will be the only thing that they would, put in place. I think there are other things that, can also be added in terms of maybe the seasons or maybe in terms of future expansions down the road, in terms of maybe new areas, new missions, or new story packages, or something along the lines of survival, dark zone based events, if you understand what I mean, underground, and all that good stuff. But there's also something that I wanted to quickly bring to light because I feel like it's something that's important for everybody to know, and that's because it's somewhat of a premium reward system. There are going to be 2 tracks, a premium of the premium rewards, and there's a standard and there's a premium track. If you buy Warlords of New York, you're going to get the premium track for free for the very first season. And so that's an incentive that they're putting there for players to be able to earn extra rewards, extra caches, cosmetics, and all that good stuff. It'll probably be fun. Everybody that engages and gets the rewards that are attached to it will most likely love and enjoy what they get. And I do understand that that's something pretty cool in terms of that. In further seasons down the road, you will be purchasing this premium track that would then open up, the opportunity for you to be able to get extra stuff, which does not affect your power level or your gameplay. It is not pay to win. In my other video, I said I wasn't going to be paying for this, and I think I, was really strong on how I mentioned it. People thought I was losing my mind. Guys and girls, I'm not losing my mind. I buy cosmetics in games that I play that I like. I just think right now is probably not the best time to have put something like this, or even, they had to maybe for full disclosure, but I just didn't think this was the opportune time. There's a time for, stuff like this, and I feel like a more opportune time would have probably come into place. You know what's even crazy? I might even go ahead and buy the darn thing every time it shows up. It might be my birthday and I'll go spend money on it. I've bought like 5 copies of The Division in total. Yeah, I have one on Xbox, one on PS4, and 2 different PC accounts, and I paid for every single one of them. So for the $10 fee, many people are saying, oh, it's just something easy. Guys, I bought 4 copies of The Division relax. Okay. I think people are like getting all whatever. In fact, the other day I was actually even asking my wife, should I buy a Division account for you so I can get the, the apparel that they invite, whatever. But I said, nah, I already got multiple, copies of the game. So I kind of just, stayed away from it. I'm even thinking of buying this. Oh my gosh, I almost spent $90 buying the season pass on all three platforms, PC, PS4, and Xbox One. I had to kind of stop myself. So if it's supporting this game, I don't think you have more of a proponent of supporting the Division 2 than you see here on this channel. The only thing is I like to kind of put out different perspectives so that I can kind of maybe, stir up the waters a little bit, which is fine, and all that good stuff. And so what these seasons will bring to the Division is it's going to bring that longing for replayability and all kinds of fun stuff. In fact, what really stands out with, these so-called events is the leagues that come with it, where you're challenging other groups, you're challenging other folks in regard to how they do and complete missions fast, and creating for yourself, some kind of bragging rights. And then you also have season levels as well that you can engage in. And then one of the really cool things that also got added with this seasons is the developers went ahead and looked ahead and said, what if you have the people who cannot engage in these things for a week that it's there? How are they going to go ahead and, get these rewards? Well, the good thing about a lot of these rewards are you can find a lot of them in the open world. In fact, they even said in the state of the game, you can ignore the entire thing and still gain a bunch of these rewards. The only thing is once you're tracking, you're guaranteeing that you're getting rewards that can lead you into attaining all kinds of RNG stuff that comes within the game. So it is a very good thing. I think it's something that we should have had a while ago. It would have kind of kept, the game kind of fresh, and it would have kept the game going, and developers could have maybe spent, the time being working on different new areas, different narrative driven maps, because I think that's one thing about the Division. When they put out because of the way the Division's nature is, if you put out a narrative content, you almost have to go develop a map around it, like Kinley College, Pentagon, Operation Dark Hours, and now, Camp White Oak or whatever it is. And then now we have Warlords of New York, which is also another entire map. Well, Coney Island, sorry, I forgot that. And then, you have Warlords of New York. So, these things don't take a day to do. Yes, they have a lot of the map assets. They've done a good job in replicating the world. And I feel like, this would probably have spaced them out to do things like that. The other side of the whole discussion too is, these seasons, if they already set parameters and they already have these interesting experiences to them, then it sets up the game for even more success. I think I'm looking at the seasons from the futuristic perspective, and forgive me for doing that. That's usually kind of how I think. If you haven't noticed, I've been talking about New York and it's not even here, and it's here, if you understand what I mean. I was talking about, old gear sets, old skills from Division 1 coming back to Division 2 in the future, and here we are sitting at it, if you understand. So when I'm talking about that future stuff, it's just kind of how I like to look at the game. And so I think these seasons will set up the game so that when you get these new content areas, they're not going to just be content areas that you blow through and then now you're bored with them, but instead they have a different level of depth. And so all the new content areas that we got in year one, if they had some kind of a seasonal aspect to them, I think they would have been much more interesting, because the replayable aspect of them would have given players something more to do at that time. But we'll say year one is past. Now that year two is here, I think these seasons are actually going to work in terms of everything now in the totality. So even if you're in New York, you're level 40, you're engaging the seasons and engaging the content there, you can still come back to Washington, D.C. and get these seasons to actually, create an experience for you within the Washington, D.C. existing map, which is very good. And so you can now reuse and replay your Washington, D.C. content that will provide tons and tons of hours of gameplay for you, as well as your New York stuff. And then if they were to bring another map somewhere, maybe an underground, maybe a survival, imagine that same layer being added on top of everything. So if you haven't purchased this DLC, I think you might be shortchanging yourself if you haven't. Now, I'm not saying go buy it. Don't get me wrong. You can wait for a sale. It's your money. You can do what you want. But I'm saying, imagine the extra level of gameplay that you're going to be getting with these seasons in terms of that. Many of you might be wondering, did he not just critique Ubisoft just now? I know, yeah. I kind of want to make sure everything is laid out on the table, and maybe you might disagree with me, but this is, I mean, I'm telling you, well, I'm not happy with this stuff, but I'm here buying the DLC. I mean, that's just how we are, as gamers. Some things we may not be happy with the game that we like, but we still go ahead and play the game that, we like. It's just what it is. So think about all of that. Think about how the seasons affect the entirety of the game itself. Think about how, these seasons and these global events will affect maybe your favorite mission in DC. Many of you, have mentioned here how you love to farm Lincoln Memorial. And I know why, because it's a very fast mission. It's one of the fastest missions that you can blow right through. And, you can use that to farm for exotics, maybe farm for resources. Targeted loot will be, exploding all through the map. You're going to have different missions that are dropping things. So you're not going to abandon Washington, D.C. Maybe you want to go in the Dark Zone and farm like a specific Dark Zone, weapon, and you get maybe a targeted loot aspect in the Dark Zone. You can go in there. You can increase the open world difficulty, which is supposedly there to give you more rewards. You can increase and change the directives, and you can get more rewards drop, which will in turn, give you a bigger chance and a possibility of getting the rewards. So seasons are, in fact, in my opinion, one of the best things that has happened to this game in a very long time. So I hope, my other video was not misconstrued in that sense, but, that's how I still maintain that position. But I don't want to detract from the fact that seasons are actually good in the way that they've been implemented. I just think, the extra premium stuff could have been put down the road once players have started enjoying the seasons. Then they can say, hey, if you enjoy the seasons, here's a premium track that we're putting for this year, and, whatever. But I may be being too particular here, but I hope this was kind of clear as to what seasons will be and what a broader scope of this can look like in terms of past and future content. So let me hear what you think in the comment section. For those of you who haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, join the Gaming Daddy community, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Peace.